Good evening, and welcome to our weather news forecast. Today we meet again in a rather special context. The climate calendar has clearly indicated that mid-September marks the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. Yet, the meteorological map presents an unusually calm picture. According to decades of statistics, September 10th is typically the day when the number of tropical cyclones reaches its highest point. But this year, it is almost unbelievable that there are no official areas of investigation highlighted by the National Hurricane Center. This means that in the next 7 days, forecasters do not expect any tropical depressions strong enough to warrant early warnings. Satellite imagery this morning shows only a few lines of thunderstorms offshore the U.S. East Coast, mainly associated with a passing cold front, producing rain showers of temperate nature rather than tropical systems. Dry air masses from the north continue to suppress convection, while the MDR, the main development region stretching from West Africa to the Caribbean, is being hampered by strong wind shear and low mid-level humidity. As a result, tropical waves that initially appear vigorous when leaving the African continent quickly dissipate in the middle of the Atlantic. In the Gulf of Mexico and northwestern Caribbean, we can only see a few scattered disturbances, some weak surface troughs producing local thunderstorms over Mexico's coast or the Yucatan Peninsula. But with no defined center of circulation and no upper-level support. These are nothing more than summer showers, not enough to become tropical cyclones. This tranquility has surprised many, with some even suggesting that this year's hurricane season is a failure or boring. However, history has shown that seasons with a slow start can erupt violently in the latter half of September and throughout October. Therefore, complacency is absolutely not advised. While there are no clear signals at the moment, global climate forecasts do highlight potential developments between September 10th and 16. The northwestern Caribbean, including northern Honduras, Cuba, and the Yucatan Peninsula extending into the Gulf of Mexico, carries about a 20% chance of tropical depression formation within 7 days. This risk comes from a weak cold front sliding southward from the U.S., stalling over warm waters and creating an environment where minor disturbances could merge. This region is a classic breeding ground for homegrown systems that often emerge late in the season. Such storms can develop into Category 1 or 2 hurricanes in just a matter of days and head straight for the coastline. Additionally, the offshore waters of the southeastern United States, from Florida to Georgia, also deserve attention. As cool continental air collides with moist marine air, creating a convergence zone, stationary clusters of thunderstorms offshore could unexpectedly spin into a low-pressure center. Further out, the MDR, though quiet at present, could change between September 17th and 23. When tropical formation signals rise to about 40%, if a tropical wave maintains its structure while crossing the Atlantic, it could easily intensify into a strong storm near the Caribbean. In short, the meteorological map could flip in just 1 to 2 weeks, underscoring the true nature of hurricane season: calm today but explosive tomorrow. A natural question arises: why did earlier forecasts seem off-timing? Many meteorologists, including us, believed that clear signals would appear around September 10th. The reason lies in the Madden-Julian Oscillation, MJO, a short-term climate cycle circling the equator, with phases that either enhance convection or suppress it. Last week, many models suggested that the favorable phase would arrive in the Atlantic right about now. In reality, it moved more slowly and remained stuck over the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia, leaving the Atlantic atmosphere without the necessary boost. In other words, the weather isn't absent, just late. If projections hold, by late September, the MJO will finally align. And with sea surface temperatures still high, the potential for tropical cyclone outbreaks will be significant. While we wait for changes offshore, another climate phenomenon has captured full attention on U.S. soil. An unexpected and prolonged cool spell is blanketing the entire east. For several days now, dry and refreshing northeasterly winds have poured in, steered by a weak offshore low-pressure system working in tandem with the Appalachian Mountains. This mechanism operates like a steady air conditioning pump, the coastal low draws air from the North Atlantic. Cold air masses descend from Canada, and the Appalachians lock that coolness eastward. As a result, daytime highs along much of the I-95 corridor remain between 77 to 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. Yet feel much more comfortable thanks to low humidity. At night, temperatures fall to 59 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 18 degrees Celsius. And higher mountain areas in North Carolina, Virginia, and Pennsylvania even drop to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. People stepping outside in the morning feel a crispness more like October than September. With mountain forests above 1.500 meters already beginning to show autumn colors. Typically, such cool spells last only 2 to 3 days before warm, humid air from the Gulf of Mexico returns. But this time, a special, cool lock has formed, the offshore low. Though weak, is enough to maintain a continuous northeast wind. Mid-level jet streams from the north keep feeding dry air, and a cold front over the Midwest hasn't yet advanced eastward. The east therefore sits in a stable pressure pattern with no immediate disruptor. Forecasts suggest this refreshing spell could last until the weekend and possibly into next week, meaning tens of millions of residents from New England and the mid-Atlantic down to the southeast will continue to enjoy crisp mornings and sunny, dry afternoons. Specifically, New England, clear skies, chilly mornings with mountain lows of 45 to 48 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 to 9 degrees Celsius. Evening clouds in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, but rain minimal, light northeast winds. I-95 corridor, New York to Washington, D.C., sunny days. Highs around 77 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 to 27 degrees Celsius. Nights dipping to 60 to 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 to 19 degrees Celsius. Southeast, Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, warm afternoons at 84 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, 29 to 30 degrees Celsius. But without oppressive humidity. Nights cooling to 64 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. Florida, an exception. The cold front doesn't sweep through entirely. Central and southern Florida still see tropical afternoon storms, with heavy downpours, lightning, and gusty winds, especially from Orlando to Miami. Elsewhere, Great Lakes, unseasonably low morning temps at 41 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. Showers in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, with heavier nighttime rain in upper Michigan and isolated thunderstorms producing gusty winds. South Central U.S., Oklahoma Panhandle and North Texas, risk of isolated severe thunderstorms. Some with hail of 1 to 1.25 inches, 2 to 3 centimeters, and winds of 50 to 55 miles per hour, 80–90 kilometers per hour. Radar monitoring is advised. Western U.S., a trough sliding into Oregon and Northern California brings light to moderate rain. The Rockies are calmer than recent weeks, while the desert Southwest remains dry and hot above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 35 degrees Celsius. Colorado and Utah see stable sunshine. Looking ahead 7 days. East, the cool pattern persists through at least the weekend, with a few slightly warmer days but overall below average temperatures. Central U.S., gradual warming and increasing humidity. Late summer storms reappearing across the plains and Mississippi Valley. West, more weak to moderate rain for Northern California and Oregon. Inland regions stay dry. Rockies may cool slightly by next weekend. As for the tropics, the critical window is September 17 to 23, when the MJO enters a favorable phase, significantly raising the chance of tropical depressions or storms forming, especially in the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, and MDR. Coastal communities should stay alert and prepared. In summary, the Atlantic is unusually calm at the peak of hurricane season. But this calm could be temporary, within 10 to 14 days. Particularly after September 17, the risk of tropical cyclone development will rise noticeably. On land, the U.S. East is enjoying an extended, rare stretch of refreshing early autumn weather. Today's conditions are largely stable, with only localized strong thunderstorms in Florida and the Texas Panhandle. Over the next week, the Central Plains will warm. The west will stay mostly dry with light rain in the north. And the east will continue to enjoy crisp air. This is a rare breather in hurricane season, but history has often shown that such pauses can precede explosive activity. So let's both enjoy the beautiful weather and remain vigilant, following updates closely to avoid being caught off guard. Thank you for joining us. We wish you a pleasant day, and see you again in our upcoming forecasts.